The food, the music, the vibe. Kick off your summer at the Ohio Black Expo Riverfront Culture Fest. Tell your friends, share with family. There's no other place to be Memorial Day weekend. Celebrate Black excellence.
Plus 2 concerts featuring Tidra Moses, Talib Kweli, and Jay Rawls, the one and only Marsha Ambrosius, and more.
Experience the African diaspora at its finest. Go to OhioBlackExpo.com for tickets, updates, and more. Visit OhioBlackExpo.com. That's OhioBlackExpo.com.
Introducing the African Diaspora News Channel app, your gateway to stories that's overlooked by the corporate mainstream media.
At African Diaspora News Channel, we cover stories that don't receive mainstream attention, and we serve as the voice to the global Black community. We are committed to informing and educating through the power of media, connecting the African diaspora one story at a time.
With our platform, we're helping to end injustice by exposing it.
Join us in standing for excellence in journalism and serving our community. Download the African Diaspora News app today.
Peace, family. My name is Vicki Dillard for African Diaspora News Channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. As you come in, be sure to give us a big thumbs up, and share the broadcast. We ask that you do that so others will know that we're here. And if you don't know, beloved, I am here live Tuesday through Thursday right here on the African Diaspora News Channel. That's Tuesday through Thursday, 2 p.m. Eastern. Put it in your calendar. Save it in your phone so that you don't miss a beat. Also, I give other commentary, international commentary that's not live, so be sure to check for me. Yes, thank you so very much, family. I like to say from time to time, I won't be long, but I will be strong. But beloved, I want to give you an update on a recent broadcast that I did some time back related to CJEC, leader and activist on the ground, a very, very, very effective and sagacious activist and organizer in California. How many of you all know that foundational Black Americans, Black freedmen here in the United States, whatever sort of term you want to use, the descendants of slaves, those of us that are due reparations, these are different terms that we use that represents the lineage. Yes, it's not a corporation. It's not a group, baby, that we after. It's not somebody that needs a president or a secretary to take notes, or we take membership dues. It's a lineage, yes? And it's a way to identify those that are actually due reparations from these United States of America, yes? Well, how many of you all know that the reparations movement is on a federal level because the federal government literally codified, legislated, and made law our oppression. But this also took place in local government, city government, state government. Do you understand? So when folks are asking questions, for example, when folks say things like, well, California, they didn't have slavery and stuff like that. Do you all understand there are multiple different laws that were strategically targeting Black folks? And even in California, they enforce certain anti-Black laws, racist laws. Do you understand? How many of you all know there's a such thing as somebody violating your rights, even if there's not another technical law there related to some other injustice? So before you just start making flippant comments, make sure that you look into it. Now, there was a very, very effective movement on the ground to where monies were allocated, bills were written, and they were ready to be brought to the floor just before this last presidential election. How many of y'all remember us covering that? I certainly did. Well, the Black legislators there, they have what you call a legislative Black caucus in California, just like you have a federal Black caucus on the federal level. There's something similar on the state level in California. Do you understand? Well, they assisted Black Americans on the ground with writing a bill. In fact, the bill has some of the Black legislators' name on the bill. Guess what they did? They betrayed their own Black Californian constituents and voters. And there was a whole lot of shenanigans going on. I'm just giving you the recap. There was a Republican legislator that called the bluff of the Democrat Party. And because the Democrats themselves played games just to string Black folks along. Why were they stringing us along? Because they wanted to keep us happy and voting for them on a federal level. So the Democrats knew in California is known as one of the largest and most populous Democrat, so-called liberal states. Yes, of course, Kamala Harris is from there. So they wanted to keep Black voters there happy. They knew they were in trouble all over the country. And the last thing they wanted to do was to do something as drastic as just pull the reparations bill altogether. So they played a game. They played a waiting game. Do you all understand? So when you all talk to us about studies, and when you start mischief making with bills and stuff, then that's when we have to call you out. So that's what they did. So because the Democrats kept lying to their Black Democratic California voters, one of the Republicans there called their bluff. The Democrats held it up from bringing it to the floor when it was time, because it was just right before the election. A Republican brought it to the floor, and guess what? The Democrats were exposed. It proved that they were lying the whole time. They were just stringing Black voters along. They wanted to keep Black folks happy, make them think that they were actually moving something with the reparations. And then they pulled it at the last minute right before the election, pretend like there was nothing else they could do. It was a lot of other shenanigans. Go through my previous videos to know about that. And a Republican brought it to the fore, called the Democrats' bluff to show that they never intended to do anything substantive and timely about their reparations after all. Well, as a follow-up to that, a few weeks ago here, I did a broadcast where a caller called in and started to ask some questions on a prominent Black network there, radio network. Well, one of the guests on the radio show answered his question and exposed the fact that the Black Congress folks there had the nerve to write the very liberal white governor Newsom a letter requesting some of the funds that were allocated for reparations for Black Californians. They wanted some of that money so that they could privately dictate who it goes to. And some speculate that there may have been even personal payouts that they were expecting to get. As a reminder, I want you to get ready to watch this clip so that I'm bringing you up to speed. And then I want to give you an update on the other side of what's happened since we exposed them. Watch this clip.
I think because there's money involved, and I think there are people and nonprofits who want some of that $6 million that is in the bill, SB 437, and also some of the money that is not in that bill that's left over from what the governor's office and the legislature approved last year in that $12 million reparations implementation funding. So I think there's funding and nonprofit interest involved, and I've said that publicly, and we've known that for sure, for a fact, since sometime mid-late last summer when the Black Caucus actually sent a letter to the governor saying, give some of this money that you put for reparations implementation, that you put to implement reparation actual policy, instead give it to nonprofits and let us pick our friends and our nonprofit pets, I call them, to give them this funding.
Okay, let me ask you a question that piggybacks.
I think there's a financial interest also.
Got it. Let me piggyback on Chad's question and ask you this. If, let's say, there's a miracle and a Saley's bill passes, why would SB 437 not impact that?
Well, because 437 does not require, our bill 1315 does not require any study to start actual genealogy work. Now, to be quite honest, 437 is such a bad bill. That bill has to die. We don't need, so I'm just going to be completely honest. It's in the interest of all the bills for that study bill to die, because none of the bills that the Black Caucus wants to do can happen without that study or this.
Right.
Again,
so we agree on that, Chris. That's why I called it last week a poison pill. And that's why I'm saying, why would your agency or agency bill be immune to that poison pill?
Agency, yeah. So, one, because our bill specifically is for the American freedmen, right? So our bill specifically is for those who are descendants of those who were emancipated in this specific country. And we are talking about those who are descendants who have inherited that legal and that political status. So our bill in its language itself does not require any additional study, but you are absolutely right you are absolutely right to raise the risk that if that 437 bill does happen, it could impact any other bill that comes anywhere after for this particular group of people. So you are absolutely right. There is a risk, not just to those other Black Caucus bills, but to our bill too, because we are saying that we need more study to know how to do genealogy. We don't need more study to know how to do genealogy. We need to do genealogy, and that's what our bill does.
Right. I'm trying to keep our answers short so we can get to everybody. Chad, did you have a follow-up, or are you good?
I did have one quick follow-up, if you wouldn't mind.
Go ahead.
So, Chris, again, 437 being verbatim Governor Newsom's language, my question is, do you think the governor's writing policies for the California Black Caucus so they'll put forward only the things that he approves of?
Oh, I think that's absolutely clear. One, we have literal evidence of that.
So you think he approves of that agency? So you think he approves of the Bureau?
I think he approves of studying and doing more research and not doing anything until there's more study and more research, as evidenced by the bill that he wrote for the Black Caucus, which Chad absolutely rightly points out. 437, which is a poison pill.
Okay, family, did you catch that? I wanted to remind you and bring you back up to speed on the previous broadcast. Do you understand just how explosive that audio is? Yes? Now, first of all, the gentleman who called in, shout out to the caller, number one, who called in to ask questions that led to that wonderful and explosive and insightful statement that Mr. Christopher gave there. Now, in case you don't know who he is, I just want to give you a little bit of context. He is Chris Reparations Organizer. That's what he's known as on Twitter. Just FYI, if you want to follow him there. And one of the things it says here is that he's a Black American, U.S. slavery descendant, father, reparations advocate, creator, writer, business owner. And then it goes on to, he connects it with the CJEC link, which if you go there, you'll be able to find it. So just FYI, if you want to look this up later, it's cjec-official.org. Did you hear what I said right there? I'm just giving you all some information where you can go look this up yourself and to get involved. Now, I do have a little bit of a call to action here in just a moment when I get done giving you this update. Yes? Now, after I did that particular broadcast, family, we have been receiving all types of, I've been hearing from folks on the ground, specifically in California. Folks have been tagging me, messaging me, saying, Vicki, thank you so much for covering our story. So many people kept talking about the fact that they're so happy that we're elevating this information amongst the people. Yes? So first of all, I want to say to our California family that this is exactly why, one of the reasons this network exists, because we cover stories, as you always hear us say in the opening, that everybody else don't cover. Stories that don't necessarily get mainstream attention. So it's such a privilege and an honor to be a part of that. Yes. Now, back to what I was getting ready to say here. So he calls in, yes, and you hear how skilled and expert and informed our brother is. He exposes the fact that not only these different delay tactics, he exposes the fact of these studies and reparation studies. He exposes a lot of insight, but he gives us great detail about the fact that the Black legislators there, remember, they told us that the reason why they sabotaged the bill at the last minute, right before the elections, pretending like they was going to do something this whole time, when everything went together and it was time they were getting toward the last part of the bill, bringing it to the floors for the vote and moving it forward. They said, Gavin Newsom, remember, they told us that the white liberal governor threatened them. How many of y'all remember that? Didn't they tell us that? Well, what they didn't tell you, as our brother Chris Lodgson revealed during that radio broadcast, is that this governor that they told y'all they was afraid of, which we clearly know that was a lie, they are playing a game with us. They wrote Gavin Newsom, your legislative Black Caucus there, requesting that some of the reparations funding go to specific organizations and groups and entities that they determine to have some connection to. Our brother just said in that audio, not only for the current funds, but also previous funds that was allocated. Get y'all Vicki, stop screaming and hollering. You're supposed to look professional on this network. Don't let all of Mississippi come out. Do you all understand this great level of backstabbing? So do you all understand why we have to go after folks that are Black looking? Do you all understand why you can't sit up here and tell us, well, this going against your own people? How many of y'all know that when you're dealing with somebody that's a spy, somebody that's a traitor, somebody that's a saboteur, how many of you all know they're not your people? They're meant to look like you, to blend in, to fool you. They told you that Gavin Newsom threatened him, but they didn't tell you that they secretly wrote a letter to Gavin Newsom asking for particular payouts to be reparations payouts that's supposed to go to you. What's the update, Vicki? I'm not going to be before you long, I promise, but I will be strong. Because how many of y'all know I'm going to be doing some other broadcasts this week, updates, and we're going to stay on this. We're going to stay on this because we have a goal to get our check. Since y'all like to quote Dr. King so much, because you want to keep us docile and ineffective with everything civil rights movement, nonviolent, and let white people spit on you and burn you and sit at their restaurants to go to their stores and do all that. What did Dr. King say before the United States of America deleted him and took him out? Before your U.S. government participated in and sanctioned his deletion? What was he saying right before? He told, I believe it was Sidney Poitier. Was it Sidney Poitier? No. I'm forgetting the other brother's name that Dr. King said it to. I don't know why I'm drawing a blank. Somebody remind me about it and put it in the chat. I can't see the chat right now. What's the Black activist name? He's also an actor. Can somebody remind me? What's our brother's name who he was confessing to that said that he fears that he has integrated his people into a burning house? Not Sidney Poitier. Family, somebody put the brother's name in the chat. I'm drawing a blank. Y'all know I like to get my facts correct. Watch this. Dr. King said that before the United States of America deleted him. How come they don't tell you that he said that? What else did Dr. King say? He said that the March on Washington. What did Dr. King say? All we hear is the part of the speech where y'all tell us when white people can hold the hands of Black people, little girls, little white girls can hold their hands and play with little Black girls. Child, sit down with all that. All that Aunt Jemima, cornbread, chicken and stock, conversation and chit chat. Dr. King said, we're coming to get our check. Yes? Talk Black to me, somebody. Did not Dr. King say we're coming to get our check? That's what he said right when he left out of there. Okay, somebody just messaged me, said Harry Belafonte. Thank you, family. Watch this. I wanted to tell y'all the names because I want y'all talk about what he said before he got out of here. Talk to us about what he said the last few years before he got out of here. Let's talk. He was talking about money and checks. Dr. King understood that was cute. Him pushing for constitutional rights, to use the same toilets as white people, check out books in the same libraries and stuff, go to the same schools. But at the end of the day, he was letting us know the most substantive thing that he could do is make sure that we got our checks, because when Black folks have resources, we can do what we got to do with the white folks. Let me hit the gavel on that. How many of y'all know he was calling out there's illegal and unjust wars in Vietnam and all these other places, the U.S. government's intentions for all that, rather? Because some of that came after the fact. But how many of y'all know he was calling out some of the war money and funding? And how many of y'all know that Black folks thought he was being a traitor by talking about international issues? Dr. King understood and connected the dots between the poverty of Black Americans in the United States and war funding. You understand? He understood the bigger picture, the interplay, the interconnectivity of it all. He did didn't abandon the issue. He didn't stop keeping the main thing the main thing. He was letting you all know the grand scheme of things and where the money was and how it was being used and prioritized over you. That's where we're at with it. Why is reparations so important? Because it's the right thing to do. Because it's also a spiritual debt. It's also a karmic debt that the United States is responsible for. And there are going to be consequences spiritually, metaphysically, that America is going to pay nationally. White folks in particular and black folks indirectly, but also geopolitically, internationally. Not only that, but also most importantly, when there is financial injustice and financial lack, how many of you all know that those financial disparities, economic disparities, have everything to do with educational disparities, health disparities, family, marriage, domestic disparities and problems, criminal disparities, social disparities. So when y'all want us to veer off into all of these other little projects, how many of you all know that many of those little pet projects, political projects, initiatives that y'all want us to support can be resolved when you cut the check? Do you understand? What's the update, Vicki, before you get out of here? The reason why I started by giving you Brother Quitz Lodgson's handle on Twitter is because I wanted you to see this update. They're also on Instagram, and I also gave you the website, right? This is the update he gave a couple of weeks ago. Are y'all listening? Can we post this? I don't know if the team can put this up or not. I can't tell because I'm not looking at the screen right now, but hopefully we can get the update from the tweet up. Watch this. I'm going to read it to you. Are y'all listening? Here is the update from our Black family who has boots on the ground. Again, it's under Chris Reparations Organizer on Twitter, at Chris ORGANIZAC. That's how you can directly connect with them with this update. Are y'all listening? He said, you see, we were right when we said the new Descendant Bureau Bill, SB 518, y'all look that up, and its companion genealogy research study bill, SB 437, are bad bills because they create even more delays for any benefits or resources going to the descendants of people enslaved and emancipated from slavery in the U.S. Okay, great. I'm told that it's up. Y'all keep listening. I'm reading it word for word, so you can see it on your screen, right? What does he say next? Case in point. Just in, one CLBC member, that stands for the California Legislative Black Caucus family. That's a Black Caucus there. You understand? One CLBC member just changed their own bill, AB 742, which would give descendants preferences for state business and professional license. Y'all, I can scream right now. Y'all listening? He says the change they made delays the license preference from taking effect until after the Descendant Bureau Bill gets signed into law. If it gets signed into law, he says in parentheses. He says exactly what we said would happen. Here's the kicker, though. The Descendant Bureau can't start working until a genealogy research study, SB 437, is finished. But that genealogy research study has no start date and no end date. Meanwhile, taxpayers have to pay for the endless research study and the Bureau that can't do anything until the research study is finished. See where this is going? He says, you can do something about this. Help us stop. This is my call to action that I want to talk to y'all about. He said, help us stop the bills that delay reparative justice even more than the 400 years we've already been denied. There are committee hearings coming up for the Bureau and research study bills. Contact California senators on the committee hearing the bills. Tell them to vote no now. There's a link that's connected there. Of course, family, this was a few days back. So this was for Wednesday. What is that? March 26th. So we're right here on the precipice. Yes. Tomorrow. He says, then pull up to the hearings in person. Tuesday, March 25th, that's today, 9 a.m. for the Bureau bill at 1021 O Street, Sacramento, 95814, room 1200. And Wednesday, are y'all listening? That was the one that I was initially referring to, which is tomorrow, March 26th at 9 a.m., which means we might be too late today for today's. 1021 O Street, room 2100. See, I was looking at that last one. And then he puts attachments to that. Either way, family, reach out, and you still have time to attend one tomorrow. Thank you so much for displaying that, team. We can remove it now, but I got one other thing I want to say. This brother didn't say nothing about that. I did not contact this brother directly to tell him that I wanted to say what I'm about to say now. This is all Vicki right now. I think some of you all in California need to be trying to research how you can make complaints, ethics complaints, against those Congress folks there. I know that there are organizations out there. Look into it first, because I don't want to mislead you, but I'm saying these are examples that I want to give you. For example, I know there's like this Office of Congressional Ethics where you can make a submission. I think it's something about the Office of Congressional Ethics, the OCE, which is supposed to be an independent, nonpartisan entity charged with reviewing allegations of misconduct against members, officers, and staff of the United States House of Representatives. There's a similar ethics group, I believe, on a local level. I'm saying that I think similarly to that one, you all need to be looking into whether or not it's appropriate to make ethics complaints or similar complaints against those congresspersons there that wrote the governor asking for personal payouts, or for them to allocate funds that are supposed to be for you, for entities and groups and organizations that they have connections to, or those that some presume that they can control. Many of these details, beloved, that I just mentioned just now can be directly gotten from our brother, folks like our brother Chris Lodge, last name Lodgson, and go to that link. You can follow him at Chris Lodgson on Instagram. You can go to Twitter, as well as CJEC, CJEC. Do you understand? That's their group and organization. I'm leaving it up to you what to do. I'm leaving it up to you to do your research. I'm saying similarly to the ethics committee that's with the House Congress folks, there should be something similar to that you should be able to look into to bring these things to their attention. In addition to, as I mentioned, I started the broadcast by telling you I have a call to action. That call to action is what he said there about going and participating and telling them how to vote no on that proposed bill. Shout out to Foundation of Black Americans that's on the ground. When you all love to say what we can and can't do about stuff, you are not even recognizing that you got little angels that's on the ground doing work that they don't want you to know about. This is why you should support networks like this one that are highlighting issues like this and giving you updates on such information. Yes? So family, I just wanted to give you that update. I wanted to remind you of some of the goings on with that radio broadcast that we just played for you earlier. Yes. If you missed some of the broadcast, go back and rewind so that you can get some of the details. Yes, but get engaged. If you're not in the state of California, beloved, there might still be some other things that you can do. Certainly you all can get involved by keeping our eye on the ball, telling your family, friends, and loved ones, and seeing anything else that you can do to highlight and to expose this, to tweet, to share, to Facebook, and talk Black to Me to somebody, and to be a voice for elevating these types of stories. We don't want them to get away with this. They were literally plotting, writing a letter to a white Democrat governor telling you all he threatened him. But they didn't tell you that they wrote him a letter asking him to allocate your reparations dollars in a way that they suggest that gives personal payouts or entity payouts. When I say entities, meaning groups, organizations, nonprofits, and the like. That's treason, family. That's blasphemy. My name is Vicki Dillard, beloved. Thank you so much for tuning in. Again, I'm normally here on After Diaspora News Channel live Tuesday through Thursday, 2 p.m. Eastern. I also give other commentary internationally, so be sure to look for that. Don't miss Brother Phil's live tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern. Yes, thank you so much for tuning in. I can't wait to see you again.